Hey everybody, welcome back. In today's video, we will be making the Pisco Sour. So in the video, we're going to make the drink, we're going to talk about the family structure of this particular cocktail, and stay tuned to the very end because we're going to have fun and have two different experiments with this drink. Hi everyone, I'm Chris from A Bar Above. I'm a 15-year veteran of the bar and somebody that loves making fun and creative cocktails. So we're going to make the Pisco Sour here in a second, but before we do, let's quickly talk about its family structure. So the Pisco Sour belongs strictly in the sour style family. It even has the word sour in its cocktail name. So what this means is we can take a look at it and it will provide a template of what balance looks like from that perspective. So whenever I make a sour style cocktail, I'm going to be using the same balance, which is going to be 2 parts of spirit, 1 part of acid, and 1 part of sweet. That's going to give us a basic alcohol lemonade profile in our cocktail. Now, the Pisco Sour does have 2 specific ingredients that is found in this drink, and that's going to be egg whites and bitters. Now, typically egg whites in a sour are optional, but it is an integral part of this particular cocktail. Now, the egg whites do serve 2 main purposes. First, it creates a really beautiful canvas right across the top of the cocktail, which we can add our bitters, which we're going to talk about here in a second. The other thing that the egg whites do, and this is more of the functional perspective of it, is that it kind of chops off all of the hard edges with some of the intense ingredients that we're working with, specifically the alcohol and the lime juice. Now, we mentioned bitters earlier, and it also serves 2 purposes. First and foremost, it is beautiful across the top of the egg whites, but the functional thing it does is actually mask some of the odors that come off of the egg whites. So these are all the ingredients that we're going to be using in order to make our Pisco Sour. So now let's go ahead and make one. To make the Pisco Sour, we're going to go ahead and start everything off in our cheater tin here. So I'm going to go ahead and add my spirit right to the glass here, followed by my syrup and our acid, in this case lime juice. And as I mentioned, one of the integral ingredients that we're going to be using is the egg white here. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is going to be a little out of character or a little bit different from what we're typically used to doing. And we're going to be doing a dry shake. And the whole point of the dry shake is to build up that froth. So I'm going to go ahead and shake now without ice. Then I will add the ice later in order to build that froth up. So the egg white looks really good. Now I'm going to go ahead and ice this down. So now that we have this really beautiful coating of the egg whites on top, now is when I'm going to go ahead and add my dash of bitters. And once again, we have that nice beautiful line, and we can make some really cool designs in there. I'm just going to use a simple line and draw it through, and it'll create like this heart design in the cocktail itself. So there we have it, Pisco Sour. So now let's go ahead and make our creative take on a Pisco Sour. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using those flavors that we have in our bitters and really kind of leaning into that. So what we're going to be using is creating more of a daisy style cocktail by using Bekarovka. And this has much more of that kind of hard spice kind of element to it, as well as some sweetness from liqueur. So we're going to have to rebalance this cocktail slightly. So what we're going to do is go ahead and build everything right in our cheater tin, just like we did before. So we're going to go ahead and get started the same exact way, but I'm going to be dropping down how much I'm using of my Pisco. Then follow that with our liqueur. and our syrup. And we're going to go ahead and use the same amount of lime juice as the original here. Great, so since the egg white is such an integral part of this cocktail, we're going to go ahead and use that as well. But we're going to do a slight variation on this. We'll have a bigger conversation about egg white alternatives a little bit later. So the product that I'm going to be using is just a cage-free pasteurized egg white here. And we're just going to be using this in place of our fresh cracked eggs. Great, so we're gonna go through the same process. We're gonna go ahead and do a dry shake. One of the things I know about this product is that it's gonna take a little bit more effort to build those egg white foam. So I'm just gonna work a little bit harder on that end. And once again, we're going to go ahead and add our bitters right across the top. There we have it, our fun alternative to the Pisco Sour. Cheers. So let's go ahead and try these side by side. First, the classic Pisco Sour. Nice, bright, clean. Get some aroma from the Pisco here. That's delicious. I can understand why this is a classic cocktail. So now let's go ahead and try our variation on the Pisco Sour. Very different. Very bright. You get a lot of that cinnamon and those baking spices in there. A lot of depth of flavor on there that isn't present on this Pisco Sour. It's very good, just a little bit different. You can definitely taste the bitters in there as well. Very recommend both of these. Now, as you can see, the egg whites look pretty consistent between the two, but there are some subtle differences. First and foremost, with the carton of egg whites that I used here, I had to work a lot harder to really build out that foam. There's also a very subtle taste difference between the two. I find that the carton of egg whites has a little bit of a metallic flavor to it, but it's very subtle. Now, if you do not want to use eggs in your cocktails, I get it. There are some alternatives. By far the most popular alternative to egg whites is a product called aquafaba. If you've ever opened a can of chickpeas, it's literally just the juice inside of a canned chickpea. So you can use that, and it'll be a one-to-one substitute of egg whites. I typically use about 3/4 of an ounce in my cocktails. Now, there is also another product out there called Faba Foamer. This is a dehydrated version of the chickpea water. So this is also an alternative if you want foam in your cocktails. There we have it. We have made the Pisco Sour and a variation. We've also discussed some of the alternatives that you have available to you if you don't want to use fresh eggs in your cocktails. So we know you have watched videos similar to this in the past. You know exactly what we're going to ask you to do. Hit the like, subscribe, and the bell icon, and you will get notified anytime we release cocktail videos similar to this. Until then, I hope you are enjoying your favorite version of the Pisco Sour. Cheers.